You're now experiencing data with Brian O'Neill. Experiencing Data explores how product managers, analytics leaders, data scientists, and executives are looking at design and user experience as a way to make their custom enterprise data products and analytics applications more useful, usable, and valuable. And now, here's your host, the founder and principal of Designing for Analytics, Brian O'Neill.
Welcome back to Experiencing Data. This is Brian T. O'Neill, and currently I'm in Europe and not in the studio, as you can probably tell from the background noise. Last week I was invited to the TDWI Munich conference for data leaders to give a new workshop on using human-centered design to increase adoption of data products. And as part of that, the director of TDWI, his name's Christoph Kreutz, asked me to do a brief interview about this training that I was going to be premiering later that afternoon. We recorded this so that their at-home remote audience could get an idea of what some of the in-person events were like. So a lot of the talks and stuff were also streamed for people who weren't ready to attend in person. So our chat here was taped in the TDWI booth, which was in a large conference exhibit hall with all the different vendor booths and people mingling. So it's definitely going to sound a little bit noisy, but hopefully my Zoom recording here sounds good. You'll hear Christoph initially addressing the at-home audience in German, and then he'll be switching to English for our short interview segment. So in the end, I had a blast giving this new workshop format training in person for the first time, and I'll probably be offering this as a new service for data teams who are looking for a shorter and less intense version of my main training seminar. So if you want to get on my mailing list, get all my writings and insights and hear about that, just head over to designingforanalytics.com/podcast. And without further ado, here is my brief interview with the VP of TDWI Munich, Christoph Kreutz.
Hallo zusammen, ja, hier ist Christoph wieder von der TDWI München und schön, dass ihr noch dabei seid im Livestream, TDWI at Home, zweiter Tag, Mittagspause und ja, wir geben wieder ein bisschen mehr Insights von der Konferenz und yeah, now I'm already starting switching to English because I have a very special guest with me. It's Brian O'Neill, and welcome Brian.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, it's nice to be back in person at a conference. It's been, 3 years for me since I've seen anyone in the flesh. So it's really nice to be here.
And that's so special for us. So we're so happy to be back again. Yeah. And yeah, you took all the way from the US.
All the way from Boston. Yeah.
From Boston.
Technically Cambridge, Massachusetts, the People's Republic of Cambridge, as we call it. Yes.
Okay, great. And how did you get to TDWI Munich?
Yeah, so I think our mutual friend Mark Madsen, who's a fellow at Teradata, and he's a speaker here.
Yeah, a lot of times he went.
Yeah, he told me about this, and we cross, some of our work crosses over. He's very interested in design and product and how important that is to make sure that the solutions we make actually get used in the last mile. So I'll never forget Mark's presentation when I think it was like Strata in London or something, and he had a dashboard slide about how users don't like dashboards. So it was a dashboard about dashboards. Like, I gotta know that guy. And so now we always go hang out at these conferences and stuff. So Mark's a great guy, and unfortunately I was in the plane when he did his talk. But.
So he recommended to submit.
Yeah, so he's like, contact TDWI, and maybe they're looking for speakers or training or workshop or something. So I suggested you guys take a look at some of my work and see if it would be a good fit for your audience. And here I am.
Yeah, so Brian submitted at our call for contributions, and we selected, or the technical chairs selected the talk, and yeah, we will have it today in the afternoon. Yeah. So maybe just for the viewers,
sure.
Unfortunately it will not be in the stream, but what do they miss?
Sure, yeah, so the workshop's called Designing Human-Centered Data Products, and so the main thing that I'm trying to do with the work that I do in my podcast and my writing and speaking and all this stuff is solving this problem of low adoption, or what I call technically right, effectively wrong solutions, for which there are many of these, particularly in the enterprise. So we spend a lot of time building outputs and infrastructure and pipelines and data engineering and generating stuff, but not always generating outcomes. And so users only care about, how does this make my life better, my job easier, how do I look better, how do I get a promotion, how do I make the company more money, whatever those goals are. And there's a gap there sometimes between the things that we ship and delivering these outcomes. So why is that, and how do we deal with that? And it's the world that I come from, which is more on the vendor or software product design side. There's a lot of techniques for this that are quite mature that can be applied to analytics and data science. So really I'm trying to give non-designers some of these design tools that they can use. And so the workshop is really a very condensed version of this 8-week seminar that I typically give online for teams and individuals. And so we're just going to focus on 3 specific things in that. The first one is, if you're going to design something and it's supposed to be useful and usable and deliver value, how would you test or know before you've shipped it and it's too late whether it's good, like someone will actually use it and it's useful? How do we get everyone in the team to agree on, if we were to test that, what that would look like? So we use a method called usability studies to do this. But in order to run a usability study, you have to come up with some type of learning goals and some kind of scenarios that you're going to give to a user and ask them to go, show me how you would do X using this thing that we built for you. And then we observe them doing that. And then we decide, like, did they pass or fail? And if they fail, we can take some learnings from the failure, fix it before it's too late, and then that de-risks the whole project, right? So we're going to learn how to do that. The second thing we're going to learn how to do is, how do I get unarticulated needs out of the heads of stakeholders and users? So there tends to be a lot of discussion still about requirements documents, and we get this long list of features, and just give me this data, or just give me this CSV file, and that's all I need, don't ask any questions. Well, the reality is most users and stakeholders aren't designers, and they're not thinking about someone's workflow and how this fits into the job of, say, the CMO or some salesperson. They don't have that context. So how do we get the really important stuff out of their head? So we're going to talk about using qualitative interviews as a method to get these unarticulated needs out of people's head. And then the third thing is some sketching. How do we work in low fidelity to actually get people to get on the same page with the stakeholder or a user and design with them instead of for them, and get visual early? Because most of the time when things are visual, it starts to click. Like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. Or, oh, I see where this is going, and what if we did this? And it's a very different way of working. So those are kind of the 3 learning outcomes we're going to focus on today.
Okay, that sounds totally interesting. And the thing is, the format is not a 3-hour talk, but it's
Correct.
a real workshop.
No.
So what is your approach? How are you going to do it? Is it some role modeling, a role play, or?
It's funny you mentioned that. One of the things I had to try that's difficult about teaching this is, in the seminar format, I really try to have, when I have 8 weeks, I want people applying this to real work, because that removes the need for people to role play. Like, pretend you're a CMO at a company. It's very hard to interview the CMO, like Christoph, the CMO. Well, that's not your job, so it's really hard for you to know what it's like. So I actually come up with some scenarios that everybody can relate to. So we're going to actually use some realistic scenarios. And there's no right or wrong here. It's really about the practice of using the methods and not the final output that comes out of the end of it. But we will primarily be working in small group format. So very light on lecture. No one wants to listen to me talk any more than this interview. So short interview, I'll just do a short talk about kind of the concepts about what we're going to do, and then we're really going to jump into like hands-on format and working together with a little bit of lecture, just 5-10 minutes here and there to kind of get the concepts across. But you learn design by doing design, so I really like to get people going, trying it, and not talking about it. This is why design thinking, if you ever hear about this, I like design doing and not design thinking, because it's really easy to get really conceptual about it, and let's actually do it instead of thinking about it.
I like this approach because, of course, if you start doing, that's actually with our TDWI Young Guns, the young people in the TDWI association or in the TDWI community in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. We had one claim, so start doing, and so then you get your experiences, and so that design, I really love design doing. So as we heard, this is the session, the workshop today, and for example, the viewers at home, not right here in Munich, do they have the chance to get this experience? I heard about that you're doing remote seminars and stuff.
Correct, yes. So this Designing Human-Centered Data Products, this workshop we're doing, this is again a condensed half-day version of what I typically do in an 8-week format. So I teach that publicly twice a year. The next one's, I think, September 26th is the first date. So I teach that twice a year. That's just open to the public. Anyone can come to that. And then I teach it privately all year round with teams. Typically, those are enterprise data science, BI, analytics teams will come in and we'll just arrange an 8-week period that works for them. So yeah, there's an opportunity in the fall would be the next time to take it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 8 weeks is quite a while. So what is the format there?
So it's
what's the difference?
Yeah, the reason it's 8 weeks is because I don't believe you take this one workshop on it and then go away and do it and that's the end of it. There's no accountability there. There's no feeling about, I'm going through this with Christoph, who's also going, he works at a consulting firm and I work at a bank and someone else works at a pharma company, but we're all trying to build decision support applications with different contexts. And sometimes it's knowing what it's like in a different place is where you get ideas for things. And this is actually a very well-known concept in design where we want wide collaboration, especially at the beginning of projects during the ideation phase, because sometimes it's not so much that the banking way was the right solution for pharma, but listening to someone talk about banking and some analogy got me thinking about a third thing, which I never would have thought of have I not heard this person in banking talking about whatever. So that's the benefit of the seminar, is to have that experience through our office hours and review time and all of that. So the exercises themselves are, you watch the videos offline, that there's 8 modules, each module is like 15 minutes of that, and then there's like an execution plan, like how do I go and take what I saw in the video and apply it. Really what we're doing on the live calls each week for an hour or two is talking about what was it like when you went out and tried this, or if you didn't try it, why didn't you, and what's the internal resistance that you're having, or the organizational resistance, and we try to work through some of that. And sometimes we have to talk about politics, or like the internal office situation, or dealing with a stakeholder who doesn't, I don't have time for that, just give me what I asked for. How do I negotiate those situations? That's really what we're doing. And so the 8-week time period is really, it's a time to practice this and have support from me and the rest of the cohort, so it sticks and it doesn't just get flushed down the toilet when you leave and then you don't ever use it again. Like, that doesn't help anybody. So,
and that's where we again at start doing.
Yeah.
Like you
start doing.
Design doing and then start doing.
Right.
And then you have kind of a coaching.
Yeah. Yes.
So
very much
through
so.
the different steps of the projects and so that sounds really fun.
Because everyone needs help with the tricky thing, especially with any type of adult education, is like, I get the concept of what Brian's talking about, but like, how do I apply that to my situation? And that's usually where the trick is. It's like, conceptually I understand these things, but I work in this really weird domain or this particularly hard thing, and it's that crossing that bridge between some conceptual idea and really making it hands-on. That's where people need help, and some people don't. So if they want to take the self-guided, I offer this as a self-guided version as well, which is just the curriculum, but no Brian, no cohort, no support. And if you just want to do it on your own, you can do it that way too. But most people sign up because they need the accountability and making time for it, because we all say, everybody's busy, and so this way there's 1 or 2 hours every week dedicated to getting together and try to make that habit stick, so.
Yeah, very interesting, because I think that's a crucial part.
Yeah.
You go fully motivated out of a workshop like that, and then you're back in the you're back in the reality.
Yes.
Yeah, great. And if I'm interested, how can I apply?
Oh yeah, so designingforanalytics.com, that's my website. If you go to /seminar, that has all the information about the upcoming seminars, and there's a get notified list, an early registration list. They can hop on there. So.
Okay, that sounds great. And then it was a long ride. And because we talked yesterday, and I like the stories, because just for me it's not only the workshop, but it's the person behind it.
Yeah.
And so maybe tell us more. What's your background? What are you doing?
I know you're singing. So Christoph, if you guys haven't listened, he's a trumpet player. You guys should know this. So we nerded out about some music stuff. But my formal training is in music. So I Schlagzeug. So I have a degree in percussion studies and performance, and so I have another career. I run my consulting practice and training that I do with Designing for Analytics, and then I'm also a professional musician. So I play with theater, Broadway shows, and orchestras, and klezmer, and Irish music, and all different kinds of things, and have my own band and stuff like that. So, yeah.
So yeah, for everyone, it's interesting to talk with Brian, not only from the technical side, but also about other topics.
Yeah.
And I'm always dreaming about a TDWI All-Stars band, and I don't talk about the Data Bros.
Okay.
I don't talk about the Data Bros. That's an inside joke.
No one wants to go there.
But I talked about the TDWI All-Stars because we have so many musicians out
there?
here.
Okay.
So Carsten Felden, our chairman, he's playing the drums as well.
Excellent.
I have to start exercising again, start doing the trumpet
there you
again. And I'm pretty sure we will find some more.
Okay.
So, Brian, time is over.
Yeah.
We jump to our other guests.
Great.
It was so great to have you, or it is great to have you, and
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to your
Looking
session.
forward to this too. Yeah,
I'm
it's
really
gonna be
thankful.
fun. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Have a great workshop.
Excellent.
And have fun at the conference.
Yeah, good luck to everyone out on the live stream and the activities and speakers and all that. So,
Thank you very much.
cool. Take care.
All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed my interview there. Reverse interview, right? I guess I was the guest with Christoph Kreutz from TDWI Munich in Germany. I had a great time at the conference, and I really enjoyed working with the participants, mostly from different countries around Europe. If you'd like to hear more about that workshop when it rolls out, again, just head on over to designingforanalytics.com/podcast, and you can hop on my mailing list from that page and stay tuned for more information on that, as well as getting all the updates on the show here, including the one-page summaries I send out of all the podcast episodes and my writing and future conference speaking and training. So take care, hang in there. I hope you guys are having a great summer of 2022 right now, and stay healthy.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Experiencing Data with Brian O'Neill. If you did enjoy it, please consider sharing it with the hashtag #ExperiencingData. To get future podcast updates or to subscribe to Brian's mailing list, where he shares his insights on designing valuable enterprise data products and applications, visit designingforanalytics.com/podcast.